I'm Dr. Christine Gall from Scoliosis Specialty Center. Today we're just going to go over the basic scoliometer measurements that we're going to be doing with the students. I do have a handout that we're going to be filling out for each student, and we'll go over that the day of the screening, but I just wanted to go over the basic scoliometer screening first prior to the actual day. So the first thing we're going to go over is what actually is a scoliometer. So this is the scoliometer. As you know, there are three components to scoliosis in it's three-dimensional. So we have the frontal, transverse, and sagittal plane. In the handout I just mentioned, we're going to be looking at the frontal and the sagittal plane, but the scoliometer looks at the transverse plane. So what we're going to be measuring is the trunk rotation. It's not actually going to measure the vertebral rotation, but rather the trunk rotation. So we're going to break it up into four parts: the pelvic, lumbar, thoracic, and cervical. When we're looking at the thoracic, we're going to kind of break it up into lower thoracic and upper thoracic, so we're a little more specific. So a couple things before we do the screening. Obviously, the first thing is we need to ask them permission. In general, when we do screenings, when we do the scoliometer measurement, we have them take their shirt off, and we do the scoliometer on the skin. It's most accurate. But since we're in the school, they don't really have any dividers or any privacy screens. We're going to have the students keep their shirt on. However, we are going to ask them to take off as many layers as possible. If they have sweatshirts or baggy shirts on, we want to have as the least amount of layers on as possible. We can do this in standing or in sitting. During the school measurements, we're going to be doing it in sitting to take the legs out of the equation, such as if they have a leg length discrepancy, that won't be seen in the scoliometer measurement when they're sitting. So there is kind of flow. Your directions are very important when doing the scoliometer screening. So we use the same language for each student, and each therapist should have the same language when instructing them throughout the screening. So I'm just going to go over the basics of the scoliometer first. So we have the degrees going from 0 to 30 on the left and the right. We have the metal ball, and then we have the indent here. This indent is going to be going over the spinous processes as we move the scoliometer along the spine. Now I'm going to be doing this from my left and right. So if there is trunk rotation, the ball will either move towards the left or the right. If the ball is moving towards the left, that means the rotation is to the right. If the ball is moving to the right, that means the rotation is towards the left side. Okay, left. As I mentioned before, we're going to be running the scoliometer along the entire spine and looking for any rotation. But prior to doing the scoliometer measurement, we are going to be doing the Adams forward bend test. And I'm just going to take you through the instructions for the Adams forward bend test and then the instructions for the scoliometer. So the first thing you want them to do is we're going to have them sit. There's going to be folding chairs. We're going to have them sit on the chair. You want them to be scooted towards the end of the chair so you have room to move the scoliometer. So have them move towards the end of the chair. Their feet are going to be, ask them to plant their feet firmly on the ground. Their feet should be hip width apart. So the instructions would be place your feet on the ground, both feet on the ground, hip width apart. The next instructions you're going to give them is going to be bring your arms out to the side and shoulder height. Once they're there, you say clap your hands together in front of you, round your back as much as you can and your neck, and you're going to reach down towards the floor, bringing your hands between your legs. After they do that, you're going to say, now you're going to hold it there. If you get uncomfortable or there's any pain or issues, just let me know and we'll come back up. Once they're in the Adams forward bend test position, we are looking for any asymmetries in the thoracic region, any asymmetries in lumbar, and then in the cervical. As they are flexed forward, these asymmetries would appear as either the right side being raised or the left side being raised due to the 3D deviation in a flexed spine. If the right or the left side is raised, that is considered a prominence, and it would be a positive Adams forward bend test. This is why it's important that we ensure that they keep both feet planted on the ground as to not create any false positive results. In cases of kyphosis, when we're doing the Adams forward bend test, both sides would appear symmetrical. However, the angle of the kyphosis in the thoracic region would be increased. So after you've done the Adams forward bend test, you're going to have the student kind of sit up and reset, and then you're going to go into your scoliometer measurement. Before we start the scoliometer measurement, we're going to give them the same 4 instructions that we gave them for the Adams forward bend test. So just to review, the first instruction is sit towards the front of the chair and place your feet firmly on the ground with your feet hip width apart. It's also important to note that their toes should be pointed forward. The next instruction you're going to give them is you're going to have them bring their hands out to the side to shoulder height and clap your hands in front of you. After they've done that, your next instructions are going to be round your back as much as you can, including your head. And then we're going to dive down towards the floor, keeping your hands between your legs. So now we're going to go into the scoliometer measurement, and then we're going to give the student the same instructions that we went over before. So the first instruction, we're going to have them sit towards the edge of the chair, the front of the chair, with their feet planted firmly on the ground, with their feet hip width apart and their toes pointed forward. The next instructions, we're going to have them bring their arms out to the side, shoulder hip, shoulder wide, and then we're going to clap our hands together in front. We're going to have them round your back as much as possible, including your neck, and then we're going to bring your hand, dive down towards the floor, keeping your hands between your knees. And we're going to ask them to hold it there. And then we're going to take our scoliometer and we're going to start at the pelvis. I'm going to place it on the pelvis between the PSIS. Make sure that the center is over the spinous process. I'm going to make sure that the top is perpendicular to the ceiling. We're going to take that measurement, noting any rotation. If there's 0 rotation, we're going to write that 0 on the paper as well. We're going to move up to the lumbar spine, making sure the top of the scoliometer stays perpendicular with the ceiling. We're going to go through the lumbar spine, and we're going to record the largest measurement. Again, if it's 0, we're going to write it on the paper. If the metal ball is going towards the right side, that means the rotation is to the left. If the metal ball is going to the left, the rotation is on the right. We're going to go ahead and move up to the thoracic spine. We're going to start at the lower thoracic, and we're going to record the degrees on the scoliometer. We're going to move up to the upper thoracic, making sure we're following the spinous processes. And we're going to record the degrees that we see in the upper thoracic. After that, we're going to move up to the cervical spine, making sure that the top is perpendicular to the ceiling, and we're going to record that number. If you're shorter or you can't really see, you can always take the scoliometer and come around to the front, and you can record the degrees that way. After that, we're going to kind of have them sit up. Thank you guys for assisting us with these scoliosis screenings. They're very important, and I really hope you get a lot out of it, and it's a great experience for you.